Okay, so here we are in Suliet Studio, and I'm going to show you how to add your text to your design. So first, we're going to do a couple. I'm going to go ahead and make 2 copies of the outline, so I can show you 2 different ways. I'm going to go ahead and move this aside. And we'll be working with these 2 here. So to start, you select the text option and click and type in whatever you want, the name, and we're going to select which font to use. Weld the pieces together. And let me make this a little bigger. And size it and line it up how you like. Make sure we have it centered. Select both objects and center it right there. Put it down the middle. And you just weld the pieces together. And so that will cut out just like that. Another thing you can do is go back to before we weld it. You can slant it some if you like. Center it so oops, like both pieces. And now center it. But I might need to just make it a little bit darker so that it welds a little better. And weld the pieces together. And so that will cut out just like that. You can, sometimes the text is not that easy. Sometimes because you see how everything was connected, so we didn't really have to do much to it. Now let's do something that does require a little more work. About Merry Christmas. We want that to be centered so that they're in the center of each other. Pick your font. Now I want to show you something. You see how the dot for the I and the M kind of overlap? So when that happens, you may want to go ahead and increase your line space to kind of separate them. And now select everything and weld your pieces together. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky. You see right here where the M is not connected to the E. That's fine like that. You're just going to have 2 separate pieces if you want to keep it like that. I like to make my life as easy as possible, so I'm going to connect it a little. Move it around to where you want it, have them overlap a little, and then weld the pieces together. This way you're not messing with so many little pieces, just makes my life simpler. Yeah. Now here, you can leave this like this, where the dot on the I, you can pretty much leave it like that, and then, just make sure you don't use your eye when you bring the pieces together. Or what I like to do is connect it some. So I'm just going to connect it, turn it a little, however you want it, and I'm just going to have it kind of like overlap, because I'm so bad about losing pieces like that. So right there, it is connected. I'm going to bring that up some so that you can see how the dot of the I is not connected. So this way, it's just less pieces for you to deal with. So let's make sure this is centered. Right there. So now position it how you like it. I'm gonna have them come up kind of like this. If you like, you can actually make it this overlap. So that you have one piece. We're gonna do two options, okay? Here is, so you can have it to where they don't overlap. Group them together so that they stay the same, so that they stay the same ratio when you're sizing it. So this one doesn't, the Merry and the Christmas do not overlap. Get the center. Oops. And just roll them together. Now with this option, when you cut it out, the Merry is going to be separate from the Christmas. So the Christmas part will be attached to the outline. The Merry will not. So you just have to, put the Merry on there separately. Now, with this option, we're going to kind of like weld the Merry and the Christmas together. So you see where it kind of like overlaps, where the Y and the M is at, and tiny little overlaps where the T is at. I think I'm going to bring it up just a little more so that it overlaps a little more. You want to even bring it up so that, I don't think I need to hide the overlap. So the T overlaps a little with the R and the Y overlaps a little with the M. Take that and weld those pieces together. So now you just have one piece. So when it cuts out, everything's gonna cut out as a whole. You got less pieces to mess with. Really makes your life a lot easier. This way you don't have to worry about positioning it so that everything is even and all that. And so once you get it the size that you want and where you want it, you just take those two pieces and weld them together. Very simple. Go back to before I welded. You can even slant it some. It doesn't have to be straight. Slant it some just like this. You can actually make it bigger when you slant it. Make sure you put it at its center. I want one a little smaller because you might not be able to tell if that's really a C. If it overlaps too much. Pretty much play with it and get it how you want it. Feel it looks good. I think that's okay. I'm gonna weld it. Yeah, and I have a Merry Christmas there. And so right there, that just ends up being one piece. You don't have to worry about, finding your eye, positioning the Merry, so that it looks good with the Christmas, and that's it. It's pretty much the same thing if you're going to use the Solar Studio, Adobe Illustrator, Inkspace. or Inkscape, any of those. All of those programs have the option to add text or different kind of fonts. And then once you create your text, you put it on top of the piece, on top of the outline, position it where you want it, size it down to have you want it, and just select both objects and weld it together. So it's very simple, nothing hard. And so that's it for this tutorial on how to get your text onto your outline before cutting. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy this file.